with you, but hey, Matt Walsh just went on Dr. Phil to argue about gender pronouns. Shut up.
Addison.
Dude. Oh, I've been dying to see this.
I feel like we will get fucking clapped for watching
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, right?
Why?
Isn't he like super duper fucking copyright aggro?
He might be. Is that Cole Campbell in the video?
I don't know who this is. I don't know what's going on.
And I'm Ethan.
We've been together for about
5 years.
And
Been
married.
married for 3 years.
I use they, them pronouns. Being non-binary just means that I just don't identify with the gender I was assigned.
Yes, do not watch.
Oh,
really?
armpit hair! Oh, Lord! Do you really have that reaction to armpit hair?
No, not
Never.
on big, strong, muscular men, but...
I don't like it
really
either.
like-
I personally don't like it. It's not for me, but like I don't fucking care.
I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Like, look, the non-conforming shit, like people that want to do this sort of stuff, like I don't give a fuck. Like let them do.
I mean,
whatever
I
the fuck
don't
they
give
wanna
a... It
do.
doesn't like keep me up at night. It's just gross, and I can say it's gross. Like they get mad if you
outside of that
react
binary.
to it.
If you would have been invited, what? If you would have invited Myth over, no, I'm not subjecting Myth to this. Okay. Okay, what is it?
My pronouns are he or they. I also identify as a non-binary. To me, being a non-binary means having the sense of freedom to explore my gender in whichever way I want. I don't have to perform or pretend to be someone I'm not. I can be my authentic self.
It's really important for us to share more information with people because people are curious. They want to.
Oh, look, Anthony Trent as well. We're just gonna keep hanging out like we're good pals, dude. Like we can have a fucking. We can. What do you want me to do? Kill him? Like what? Shut the fuck up, chatters. Oh my god. Like. Jesus Christ.
Understand, but sometimes they don't always have the opportunities to do that.
This is a hot topic.
Yes.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it a good thing?
I guess because it creates dialogue and it invites conversation to learn about other people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are really confused about gender identity in these times, and it's good for us to have these conversations so people open their minds and relearn and unlearn to what we've been taught.
Right. And Addison, many people think gender pronouns are exclusive to the LGBTQ plus community, but that's a misconception, true?
Yeah. Well, everybody has pronouns. Like, you may use he and him as your pronouns, right? I use they and them as my pronouns. We all may have a certain gender pronoun too, but I think it's important for people to understand that for trans and non-binary people, we often change our pronouns to reflect who we are when we come out and be who we are.
How do you
For the record,
in
these sorts of fucking shows, they always find like the most. You know, they always go after someone who's like telegenic. They always go after someone who wants to be like a representative. And in most circumstances, like I can't speak for these two. Obviously, I don't know what's going on, but like it's usually like someone who's very interested in making a name for themselves and not necessarily just like being chill about whatever the fuck, okay? Anyway.
I haven't heard it either of them say anything.
But yeah, but they haven't said anything
like,
weird at all, for the
weird
record.
at all in any way,
know.
yeah.
explain the difference between sex and gender?
I consider sex to be our biological makeup. Our chromosomes, our hormones, our genitals is a biological makeup. But our gender is more of an internal sense. So think of it like this. Sex is what's between the legs, and gender is what's between the ears, right? It's how we see ourselves on the inside.
Okay.
I see myself
And
as a
that's something
dolphin.
somebody can't know.
But that's not the same. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same, especially considering that, like, look, when it comes to gender, it's very complicated. I don't fucking understand it. That's why I said, like, the Mac attack, you know? At least 3, whatever, right? It's not like, how do I describe it? It is not like, oh, I'm gonna attack a helicopter or whatever the fuck, right? There's some people that might even fucking say shit like that, or there's like all these like edge cases, whatever. Ultimately, it doesn't matter.
But like what, like if it's just like if they're doing it like at will, just for no reason, like it seems like a lot of pain to go through, just like
Yeah.
for no reason.
Also,
it's a
how
great
you're
way to
saying
get
it.
attention, that's for sure.
But
But it's not.
Well,
It's
you're-
not. It's like a very difficult life.
If you,
It's like not. I wouldn't really call
Yeah,
it
a
like
lot
a
of
great
people
way to do it.
lots of good attention on Twitter, on
Yo,
social media.
you're-
If I don't have anything going for me,
I have to
come
say
out
something
as
about this. I have to say
trans,
something
I'm
about this.
worshipped.
You know that like people are gay for attention was exactly the same launching point against gay people in the 90s, right?
I'm sure.
They straight up said that. You
But
think
like, how is this different?
Yeah.
But I think I can think I'm whatever I am. That doesn't make me that thing.
Are you not gay?
I'm that because I'm literally attracted to men, and
Okay.
that's what gives me that term. I can say I'm a giraffe. That doesn't make me a giraffe.
But you're just saying you're attracted to men. Like you
Yeah,
could-
done.
but-
I don't
but
even
like-
use the
but
G
like,
word.
But like,
So
by,
if you're-
by that definition, couldn't I easily just say that you're just doing that for attention, and that
Sure.
like I can't prove
and
that?
that's totally fine. I can't prove either that they're doing it for attention. I'm just stating it's a great way to get attention.
It's not.
But it's not. It's like an
Totally.
incredibly like difficult life. Like if you like, I don't know. Have you talked to, like,
Is it difficult
Yeah.
in 2022?
Have you ever
I don't
fucking,
know
have you ever
about
fucking
that.
like talked to someone who's
Companies
like
are-
had to transition when they're fucking bored?
Oh, I have a trans friend. Companies are.
But like, have you okay?
Yeah,
Have you
I've talked to
like,
someone
but
who's
like,
fully
but-
transitioned.
But like,
you know Blair
but like
White
someone
is,
who's
yeah.
someone who's like transitioned when they're poor.
Yeah. She transitioned when she was poor.
Right, and she probably would say it's pretty fucking hard.
Oh, I'm sure it's hard, but it's also a great way to get attention. It can be
If it-
hard and also give you
If
attention.
it's a total choice and it's like super easy to just do
Oh, I
it,
don't think it's a choice to think you're something either. I don't think
so
that's
what do
a
you think
choice.
it is? So you do believe that trans people are born, but you're just saying it's still weird?
Oh yeah, I think you can totally. I think gender dysphoria is totally real. I think you can totally believe that you're a woman if you're a man. Absolutely, I would never dispute that. I was just stating, in 2022, it is a great way to get attention as well. Even if you could be doing it because that's literally what you believe, or you could be doing it for attention. Both.
Okay, that's confusing me a little bit. So you're saying that people are doing it potentially for...
Potentially, yes, absolutely.
Okay, you had
Coming
a mild...
out as a they them and saying you're trans is a great way to get attention when people are genuinely spending all this money transitioning because they genuinely believe it, and then we're supposed to call you they them.
But like,
and
even
call
if
you
that's the case,
trans.
by the way, even if that's the case, for the record, let's
Did you
say...
get mild?
I don't-
No,
I don't-
medium and hot.
What did you... Didn't
I
you get
thought I got
mild?
medium, but
Oh, okay,
No,
then.
I definitely got.
Here, take it then. It's fine.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
No, take it. I have more. There's more that's in here. I thought you ordered mild, like an extra mild one. Okay, as we were speaking, right? Even if that was the case, I don't believe it is. But even if that was the case, especially when it comes to like the shit that like trans people are subjected to, where we personally like, you know, routinely can talk about their existence as though it's like something that's up for debate, and whether they're like
Your existence, you exist. That doesn't mean I.
no.
believe you're a
I'm saying
woman.
like, see, that's what I mean though. Like
If your whole existence is wrapped up in what I think of you, you have bigger issues than me.
no, it wouldn't be a problem if that also did not come along with like a boatload of fucking. Did you get a medium and a hot?
I got a medium, and then I think maybe I got this one.
Are you sure?
I got medium. No, that's his. Didn't you get?
Oh yeah,
medium?
no, I got medium and hot. Yeah.
I got
Okay.
medium.
We both got mediums. Okay, here.
Yeah, and then you got. Did you get an extra medium?
Yeah, but I mean it's fine if you didn't. Okay.
Oh, this is yours. I got no bread. You want the bread, right?
Yeah. Here. As we were stating though, it wouldn't matter if people what?
This one didn't have the bread.
Okay. If it would not matter what people think of others if it was just that. If there wasn't anything extra on top of that, like, but that's not usually how it works. What ends up happening is like people legislate in a certain way. People use trans people as a talking point. There's like fucking maximum like 4 trans girls that are doing high school sports, right? But that's a prominent public conversation. And the only reason why it's a prominent public conversation is because people love to use that as a fucking
I don't think it's
talking point.
maximum 4, and there's trans
How many-
college swimmers. I have no idea at the high school level.
Oh my
How about
God.
the trans college swimmers?
Zero
that
trans-
are beating all of the women.
Zero trans college athletes have actually gotten a scholarship into college for being
I don't care if it's a
an
scholarship.
athlete.
You're still taking away from women.
Wait, why?
Competing.
Wait, why?
No, I do care if it's a scholarship, but even if they didn't get a scholarship, if you're winning against women in the women's division,
But, like, why?
when these women have trained their whole entire lives to compete against women, then I think that's unfair.
Okay.
How about we just abolish gender differences in sports then? Just have the men compete against women then.
I personally,
Why is there a difference?
I personally don't give a shit about the gender differences, but I also don't care if trans women are out competing cis women in women's sports. I don't care about that at all.
I do, and a lot
Because
of women do.
I don't think a lot of women do either, especially because why would you think that?
You don't think a lot of women care?
No, I think TERFs care, but ultimately I don't think women care. One, because they're not as successful as you say they are, especially because they're quite literally undergoing hormone therapy that drastically redefines their body structure and everything else. But secondly, they're not all that successful. People make it seem as though these people are incredibly successful in college and all these athletic endeavors, but that's not true. They're not.
Oh, so them getting number 1 and number 2 at the
you
national
can find
championship for-
one or
that's
two.
not- that's
You
not
can
being-
find one or two.
Well, there's not
instances.
tons of trans people at this time. I think it's a conversation.
exactly.
It's a conversation right now because as this continues to grow or become more prominent, it's going to become more and more of an issue.
Why would it be an issue? You haven't even.
Because people with a physical advantage, men, are going to be faster, stronger than women. No, not every man is faster than a woman. Of course not. But when you have the advantage of being a man...
Seems a lot like you want to do equality of outcome in sports.
How so?
Some people are taller than others. Some people are faster than others.
Oh, so you're saying fuck the gender differences, but I admit that there's a difference in body structure between men and women that gives men some advantages. So are you saying, no, fuck it, it's equality of opportunity? Is that what you're saying?
I think, like I said, that if a trans woman is really good at a particular sport, which is incredibly fucking rare for the majority of trans women that compete in general, and that's precisely why you always use singular anecdotes. That's literally the reason why, Joe Rogan talks about Fallon Fox.
And the new thing is you're considered trans if you've not gone on any hormones, if you've not transitioned at all. So when does it move from, oh, you need to take this amount of hormones in order to compete with the gender you're identifying as, to if you say you're a woman, even though you have a penis, you can compete with the women. So then you will
having a penis has nothing to do with this conversation, I don't think. But they do have rules in place for this. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. Rules that actually end up hurting cis women, even like Caster Semenya, and women that simply just have a naturally higher occurring testosterone in their bloodstreams. So there already is a way to try to legislate this. There is already rules and regulations placed. But even that actually ends up harming cis women. If you wanted to protect cis women that have a natural competitive advantage literally get cucked in the Olympics because they might have naturally occurring testosterone in their bodies that are higher. There are also women with higher levels of testosterone than men. Like cis women with higher levels of testosterone naturally occurring in their bodies than men.
Okay, so while you love on trans women, can y'all take a selfie with me?
Sure.
Wait, Felix, you have to get in.
No.
Okay, you're not gonna be in.
Okay. Hasan is bigger than any girl I've met. This is the only thing I don't agree with Hasan about. Yeah, I'm a big dude. I'm bigger than most dudes you've met too. That doesn't change anything. Anyway, I'm gonna give the 1 minute ad break here, and then we're gonna continue with this Dr. Phil video. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. This is the swimmer he's talking about. Controversy of the year: transgender swimmer Leah Thomas swims fastest times in the nation. Always like one person. One person. Let him have it. One person.
Okay,
Even if it was 10
if
people.
it's just one person, are you against that situation?
What?
Or so are you against that situation since it's just
Fuck
one
no.
person? Okay.
I'm not against it at
Competed
all.
with the men for 3 years, transitioned, and is now competing with the women.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So what?
Fuck
They're
that.
trans. They're living. They're trans. They're living their truth. They're a trans woman. I think trans women absolutely can and should compete with cis women. I don't understand why it's that big of an issue unless you think, and I think a lot of people should be more honest about this. They just think trans women are icky and weird and gross.
I don't. I have a trans
And that's
friend.
where they're like, that's where a lot of it comes from.
I
where
don't
they-
at all. If that's
where
what
they-
if that's
where
how you
people-
want to live, love you, we can be friends, all of it.
But like,
So no.
But
But,
like,
like-
what? Like, why else would you give a shit? Like,
Yeah.
Because
Did you
men
like pay attention to
penises
swimming
and
before?
testosterone
Do you-
have advantages.
have you
over
ever-
women
Have you ever cared about
athletically.
like who the best
I've-
swimmer is?
Do you know who
Like,
the second?
at
Do you know
this
who the
specific
second?
college?
Yeah. Do you know who the second fastest swim time in the nation is?
Is it a woman?
Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. Why don't you know?
Because I don't care. Because I don't care.
Exactly. You only care about this because there's a trans woman.
No,
that
it's
is-
because men have a competitive advantage over women athletically.
No, you're literally proving my point. That's people only act like they give a shit about this issue because trans people. Okay, that's it. They don't want trans people competing, and that's precisely why.
Let's make a trans league. Why not make a trans league?
Because there would be 3 people across like every fucking sport. That would be insane.
Okay, and if there's no difference, why can't the trans women compete with the men?
What?
Why can't the trans women compete with the men?
Because
then?
that would also be insane. Because if
Because
there's
that
if
would
there
hurt
are-
their feelings.
They've done that and people complain. They've like literally done that.
I
They've
know.
done that
So
with
there was
wrestling.
one wrestler who. Oh no, that he was gonna wrestle a woman. Never mind. I don't know. I'm against it. End of discussion. And
also because they're not men. That's a trans woman. That's not a trans man. Trans men can compete with
so if I
with
say I'm
cis
a
men.
woman tomorrow, I should be able to compete with the women.
I can't speak on like people who are not like in the process of gender confirmation. Like I know that if someone says they're a trans woman, like my immediate inclination isn't to say, oh, that person is probably lying for attention or anything like that. But as far as like competitive rules goes, one, I personally don't care if someone is like, I'm a trans woman and I want to compete against cis women, but I don't know. Like I don't know what the current regulation for it is. But the real thing I will say is this: I don't think human beings are that grifty, if you know what I mean. Like I don't think like some people have done that, and 99% of those people are conservative commentators that try to fucking get like try to do a quick own to make a point that like, you know, men are stronger than women or whatever by average. And that's true. Like that is literally true. And it's always
So if that's
that
true-
fucking that dude Zubies or whatever, that's like the dog shit rapper. He did that where he was like, oh, I won a weightlifting competition. But that's fake. And you're the guy who did that. There's no other instance where like
But
these-
if you just said that men are on average typically stronger than women, then simply because someone labels themselves as a woman, you say, "Oh, well, then they're a woman and they should be able to compete with the women." Like I don't understand.
talk to
that.
me when there is
when this is
someone
mass and
talk to me when there is someone who's not a conservative commentator, who's not clearly doing this for funsies. No,
you said that's.
But that's a trans woman. That's not like. Do you think that person is faking it to win?
No, but I do think he has an athletic, or she has an athletic advantage for sure.
So what? Talk to me when someone's like, I am just doing this specifically to win a competition. I'm not gonna undergo anything. Like I'm using male pronouns in every other fucking part of my life, but in this circumstance, I'm just doing it. Talk to me when someone is not. Talk to me when there's someone who's like faking being trans to win a fucking competition.
Okay, so we'll have this conversation in probably the net, which I don't know if that's happened.
So
yet.
so you're
No.
setting up for the future then. Is that what you're saying?
Fuck yeah. Oh fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's my point. It's like nobody cares about these sports. People just care about it because
We
there's
do.
trans people competing.
We do.
No, you don't. You don't care. You don't know who the second fastest
Because I
climber
don't
is.
pay attention to swimming until a man is competing with the women.
Okay, but you just admitted it. You don't care. So why the fuck do you care? You only care about the trans people competing in it. You don't care
No,
about the actual
I
sport.
compete
If you care about the integrity of the sport, then you would know who the second fastest swimmer is in the women competition that literally got stolen their position from the trans woman, right? Like, but you don't, because you don't care about the integrity of that process at all. No one does. It's really fucking
No,
creepy.
I just care about women having the same opportunities as men to succeed.
Okay.
They should be able to do that without men taking over their sport.
Yeah, if that quite literally was the case, then people would be advocating for every other facet where women are competing in sports. They don't give a shit about how much women get paid. As a matter of fact, they fucking cry.
Because if people don't want to watch that sport as much as they want to watch the men competing in that sport, they should not get paid if they're not producing the same amount of ratings.
Okay, so you don't care about the women's sport.
No, I care about women's sports and their opportunity to compete in the sport.
You care about women's sports as far as like trans women are competing as well.
No, I care about women's sports as far as women being able to compete fairly versus them getting paid the same amount. You get paid based on the ratings you bring in. If women were bringing in higher ratings like they do in gymnastics, female gymnasts get paid more than male gymnasts. Female I don't know about the figure skating one. Female rhythmic gymnasts get paid more than male rhythmic gymnasts because they bring in higher ratings. So no,
I think
that's just
I think
not
we
true
should
either.
I think we should let more trans women compete so that the ratings improve for all of these women's sports, and therefore women will make more money.
The ratings would go up, that's for sure.
There you go, because so many people are so obsessed with like what trans people are doing, even though there's like fucking, 10 trans people competing, that that'll automatically improve and elevate all women's sports. So there you go. I'm
You're for
further
it, for the
advocating.
ratings.
I mean, if you care about it. If you think trans athletes bring in higher ratings for women, would you be on board with it?
Hell no.
Why? What do you mean?
No, because I want the women to be able to compete fairly and see who's the best based on their athletic.
Okay, we're gonna continue with
capabilities.
this. We're gonna continue. We're gonna see what Dr. Phil has
Gender
to
is
say.
something somebody can't know just by looking at somebody.
Nope, yeah. Because everyone is going to present and express themselves in a different way. I know, it's very confusing, right? Everyone's like, what is going on? But it's really, about us breaking that assumption that we can tell someone's identity, someone's story, their pronouns, even their name, just based on how they look, right?
Yeah. And so how does someone ask? How does somebody clarify that? Ethan, what's the best way? What's the most comfortable way?
I think for me, to create a safe space
got
for
real
people
quiet
to
on this,
share their
dude.
Oh, no. I mean, it was
You're
mostly you
vibing.
guys debating. But
pronouns, I will say, "Hi, my name is Ethan.
Yeah.
I use he or they pronouns. What about you?"
I think it's really important for us to recognize other people's pronouns because, again, we can't make that assumption. But for so many people who are cisgender, meaning that you do identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth, you're not transgender or not non-binary, I think a lot of people don't even question their pronouns because we already use them and it's already assumed correctly. But for so many trans and non-binary people, that isn't often assumed correctly. So we need to take the time to
What did
get
they bring
to
on
know
Matt
people.
Walsh?
Cisgender.
Yeah, I wanna
Is it
see-
like, is it
It
wait?
says
Do you like
adjective
Matt
that
Walsh?
describes a
I
person.
do.
Ew.
I do.
No,
God
you
damn,
don't.
I
I
do.
do.
No, you
I
don't.
fucking do.
No, you
No, you
don't.
don't.
He
Love Matt Walsh.
sucks.
And he'd be on Google Chat with y'all, by the way.
Oh my god, he
Jesus
sucks so
Christ.
bad.
He's
like
so good. He's so good.
he like homeschools his children and then goes to fucking parent-teacher
I
conferences.
love him.
That is like literally.
He pays the taxes, so do it, man.
Oh my god, that's the wackest person you could ever be on the planet. I'm gonna go complain at parent-teachers conferences at other
Yeah,
people's
fuck
schools.
yeah, because
It's
these
like-
kids are gonna graduate hating
Also,
their
I don't
skin
think Matt
color.
Walsh would like you if we're being honest. Like, cause
He loves me.
Have you guys met?
No.
if you think Matt Walsh loves you when you are like,
And I don't even care if you would like me or not. I like his takes. End of discussion. I don't
Do
need
they
him to worship
do
me
they
to like
bring him in? Do they bring him in like a pro wrestling thing here?
yeah, dun 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 dun. I love that. Let's hear what the
His gender
intellectual giant
identity
is gonna do
matches
here.
or aligns with the gender he or she was assigned at birth. Now, this would be what has been traditional for centuries, right?
I don't know. I usually just
Why
hate
does
people
it
that
need
would
a
fucking unconditionally
term?
hate me. But that's
You know,
me.
if we don't use that term, then we end up saying maybe real men or normal men or regular men, right? Or we just say men, and then we say maybe transgender men, right? And the thing is that we need to realize that trans women are women, trans men are men too. And so we just want to have a term for that privilege, that assumption that your gender identity is going to match the one that you were assigned at birth.
All right. And then transgender, adjective, describes a person whose gender identity does not match or align with the gender they were assigned at birth. And then non-binary describes a person whose gender identity does not fit into the traditional binary of man or woman. And that term can be abbreviated to, and how do you pronounce that?
NB.
NB.
NB, yeah.
Okay. And explain that.
For transgender people, we are assigned a sex at birth, and when we grow up, you know, when there's a mismatch of how we view ourselves and how society views us, then we can choose to, you know, either medically transition or just socially transition or both.
My name is Matt Walsh, and I've written a book called Johnny the Walrus. This book is about identity and imagination.
Oh,
He
that's so
identifies
creepy.
as a-
Oh, that's so creepy. Dude, automatically, dude. You're like, that is like, these are the guys that fucking complain about like drag power hour for children doing exactly the same thing, but way worse.
My God, dude.
Oh, dude. Oh, no, no.
my
You just
God.
want to fucking be around. Oh, dude. No, no,
My
no,
God.
no. I would never want my kids to be around this fucking freak,
His
dude.
book was #1 in the LGBT section. Did you
Oh
know
my
that?
God. Oh my fucking Lord. Yeah, because conservatives have a lot of disposable income and they will literally buy whatever dog shit that you shill them. It doesn't matter.
Also, like think tanks, like one of the secondary jobs of a think tank is to order like
Yeah.
100,000 copies of a
yeah.
book.
They
so it
literally
makes it a bestseller.
they literally just have it in the basement, fucking probably burning it afterwards. But hey, you made it to the fucking top of the list, right?
a walrus, and his mom's a little silly. She takes it seriously and thinks he really is a walrus. So she went on her phone, and there are people telling her that this isn't pretend, he's really a walrus. And his mother takes him to the doctor to have him surgically transitioned and gets him walrus hormone pills, and then eventually tries to drop him off at a zoo to live with other walruses. Not only topping the Amazon charts, my book has taken the world by storm.
You're saying that there should be no construct of gender, just sex. You're either male or female.
Right.
And someone feeling in a mental, emotional way that they don't identify.
Conservatives will fucking write a book like shitting on trans people for children
Wasn't
So
shitting
that-
on trans.
so that children can fucking feel this. I mean, he's making an equivalence to like
It was showing
someone.
the connection. What's the difference?
That's not a connection, and you know it.
How
there's
so?
there's a difference between well documented. Well, first of all, there's a difference between like the way we visualize and understand gender, which is a social construct, versus like a human being. Okay, like there are people out there that fucking do body modifications to change their body to be like lizard people or whatever the fuck. But those people aren't actual fucking lizards. Like, we all understand that. There's a human being that's doing that, okay? Whereas gender, on the other hand, is entirely a social construct that we have developed that we work off of contextual cues on, like, how people present themselves. Okay? Ultimately, someone saying, I'm a fucking walrus is not the same as someone saying, I'm a woman, I'm a trans woman. Okay? It's not, because you're not a fucking walrus. It's not because
You're not a woman.
there is no contextual cues associated with like a human being being a walrus. That's not how we analyze human beings. And you already admit that.
So what's a woman then? What is a woman? What is a woman?
It's the same as like what is a man? It's just a fucking person who is a woman.
So
like
then
a
why is
person.
it such a big deal to be called either then? Why are you so
Well, there's some
married
people
to
who
that
believe
term?
in gender abolition in its entirety. again, this is why I fucking hate talking about
there
this.
has to be a
because
difference
conservatives
between-
are like more obsessed with gender than the most annoying SJW who's like
But if you're
fucking
if
xenogender, you know what I mean? Like
if
conservatives
there's no,
can't
you didn't
let
give
people
a
exist
definition. If there
because there doesn't
you're
have to be. It's just like
transitioning
someone
from-
who says they're a woman. They're a fucking
So
woman.
if I say I'm a walrus, there shouldn't be a problem.
No, because there's a difference between like a human being and a walrus.
But
Whereas there is no
there-
difference between like a trans woman saying that they're a woman and a cisgender woman saying that they're a woman.
There has to be a difference between a man and a woman, or people wouldn't be transitioning from man to woman. So what is a woman?
Oh, when people are transitioning, they're simply transitioning so that other people can understand through social context that they are women. Like that is what it is.
And what is it they're transitioning
They're matching the societal expectations of what a woman is.
which
and-
is...
Like someone that looks like a woman, like what you would understand
But
as
there's
a
a
woman.
lot of men who look like women who don't want to be called women. So because they're men.
Okay.
Because they're men.
And so then call them men,
So
and they are
we
men.
don't call them women just because they look like a woman. That
Yeah.
doesn't make you a woman. Looking like a woman doesn't make you a woman.
No, exactly.
So
Okay,
so
no, but
we
that
still haven't gotten to
you,
what
you and I are in agreement. Where you and I are completely in agreement with this take. If that's what your opinion is.
Well, no, I was just asking you. It's so important. Transition, but then nobody can talk about what they're transitioning into. I think it's a woman is someone born with a vagina.
Some people want to look a certain way. Others don't. That does not
Great.
change the reality that like a man, Ben Shapiro, is 5'4" and can't grow fucking facial hair.
Is he 5'4"?
Okay, yeah. I'm 6'4" and I'm hairy as fuck. We are both men, right?
Uh-huh.
Ultimately,
But it's not
ultimately
your 6'4"ness that makes you a man, and it's not your hairiness that makes you a man.
what it's what I have in between my legs, right? That's
You're
what
dingling, yeah.
that is part of it. Yes.
What if a guy gets his cock shot off during a war? Is he like not a man anymore?
Nope, but he was born with a penis. He was born with...
And then there's intersex people too, like born.
Yeah, and usually one gender usually the gender or one genitalia part
Mhm.
is predominantly larger than the other, and it's very clear.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because
And-
like it's a doctor making
And
that decision. It's not-
intersex is the low, and it's such a low
There are more.
rate of people that
It's not true.
I mean,
There-
so is
there
like
are
literally
more-
your engagement with this entire issue is like completely marginal compared to like literally anything else.
Yeah.
So then why is it a big deal to everyone else?
It's a big deal to you.
No,
You,
yeah,
like,
it is.
you care about like the swimming.
But
the
y'all,
swimming
we wouldn't be
woman.
having this long conversation if y'all didn't care.
No,
You
we
did
don't
not
care.
care.
We don't care in the sense of like just let them live. Like who cares?
I'm totally all for letting them live,
But-
not
but-
at the expense of women. Live.
But you're using.
But this is like the
Let's
one.
go eat lunch. Let's go to Starbucks. Let's live. I'm not for you taking opportunities from women.
But this is like the one thing where you're like women should have an equal
Sure.
opportunity and outcome.
No,
But-
I'm
but
not.
it doesn't-
Not if they grow up poor. Not if like one parent doesn't work or they're a single.
He doesn't
parent
even believe
household
that.
where
He
they
doesn't
make,
even
like,
care.
below
He doesn't even
minimum
care
wage.
because I said, what if there were
Why
higher
is
ratings?
this like the one situation where like there should be some enforced fairness to your standard? Like why is this the one thing? Like literally like women's college sports. Like such a marginal thing compared to everything else.
Well,
Also,
if you
intersex
care
and
about
not-
all of those other things, why isn't this a big deal for you?
Because
you
this
think-
is a completely like numerically
Because I just think because
issue than compared to
it's such an
anything
attack
else.
on the truth, looking at a man with a penis and then
How-
saying that.
you would have never known that person is a man.
Are you kidding me? Have
You're-
you seen other pictures? Of
It doesn't
her?
matter. You would never
No,
in
yeah,
a
you
million
would.
fucking. There are cis women that look like that. 100%. 1000%. You would never. Everyone's gonna get into fucking clock mode right now and be like, I'm clocking. But ultimately, there are cisgender women that look exactly like that, and you would never in a million fucking years be like, that's a trans woman, unless that was constantly in your fucking mind. Straight up. Straight up. You would never. The only reason why, just like the only reason why you know that this is an issue is because someone made it an issue and presented it to you, and you're conditioned into thinking that this is an issue and it's somehow unfair because trans women are not women in your mind. And that's fine. That's like, I mean, it's not fine. I don't agree with you on that. But ultimately, ultimately, this is not a fucking big deal in any meaningful capacity. You know
Then
who it is a big
should
deal
be a
for?
big deal.
No, it's a big deal for fucking trans people that get owned non-fucking stop for just being trans. That's what it's a big deal for.
Great,
and
be
I do
trans.
care about, no, but I care about making sure that they're not like, you know, they already have a lot going on. I care about making sure that we're just not like fucking owning trans people for no reason whatsoever other than
competing against
other
women.
than who they are and what they
I
can't
don't
change
own
about
trans
themselves.
women who want to work in the workplace, who want to go shop, but you want to compete against women, yeah, you're gonna get owned.
But you don't care. You admitted that you don't care.
I do care about this issue for sure.
No, you don't. You
do.
have never spent. Here's my argument. Okay. I think if you are going to talk about trans women competing in a particular sport, like whether it's high school volleyball or whatever, you should be forced Clockwork Orange style to watch every single fucking high school division of that sport specifically for the rest of the fucking year that the sport is happening. If you ever talk about it, you should be forced to fucking watch it at gunpoint.
But I could say the same about people who want universal health care, who want universal housing, who have tons of money. Then give your money and help these solutions.
I want to.
You go fund some homeless people.
I
Go
want
buy
to.
them a house. We can do that, but clearly we all don't.
I do want that. I want that.
I
wanna
mean,
do
not
that.
just for you, for every leftist with money. Then
Yeah.
go eat the minimalist amount of food you can eat, live in the smallest place you can possibly live in, the least expensive place, and give all the rest of your money to all these different causes. Fund a homeless person to live here. Do it with your money. But
Even if I were to do
that's
that,
not
There
how-
are people who give like tens of millions of dollars
Yeah.
at a time to these causes, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Only,
It does-
only
it
something
definitely-
at the scale,
yeah.
something at the scale of state.
No,
Okay,
okay,
that can do anything.
Yeah.
Right, but they still can provide with $10 million, tens of millions of dollars, tons of homes for homeless people.
Okay, but if philanthropy was a solution, then why are there homeless people?
Like in like every state? Why is it
Yeah.
still
Because
such a
people aren't
widespread
doing
thing?
it.
What, you think
You
people
think,
aren't
you
doing
think
are
people in
doing
New York?
philanthropy.
Do you think people in New York City are not doing philanthropy?
No, they
That's
are.
all they fucking do in Manhattan. Is they
You're
do just
telling me
bullshit
there's
philanthropy.
not leftists in New York who couldn't buy homes for homeless people? Is that what you're
You're
telling me?
saying like
Couldn't buy a condo?
individual guy
Yes.
should buy like an $1 million home.
Yeah.
How many
Maybe
homes-
not $1 million, but yeah, with
How much
tens
do you
of
think?
millions
How
of
much do
dollars.
you think any home in New York costs?
It doesn't have you have the homeless person has to live in New York City, has to live in Manhattan. No. You
But
could-
like you're supposed to like buy them a building in Yonkers and put them on a bus there.
You said basic needs, basic amount of dignity. Buy them a home in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Buy them a home somewhere else so they can afford the basic amount.
Who's organizing the transport of like the bus of homeless people?
The rich person giving the money. How about that?
But what you're talking
Transport
about
them.
already.
You have so much.
But what
money.
you're talking
Everything
about
you're
already
describing would be
exists.
done for cheaper, more efficiently by the government.
Yeah, what
Then
you're
why would you
describing
go
already
through all this
exists.
when you could literally just have the fucking
Because
state do it?
I don't want working class Americans paying for it.
But why? We already established earlier on that like you don't want a homeless person living on the street. You think it's a threat to your security, right? Like that will literally improve your life. Like it is going to make your life better, and it's going to make that other person's life better tremendously. And that's what I never understand. It's like a failure somewhere along the like conservative rhetoric and conservative thought process where it's like you're going to benefit from that homeless person no longer being homeless. You are. That person is not going to live outside of your house anymore. They're not going to have to take a shit and live in the indignity of like having to eat fucking trash every day. And ultimately, we know for a fact that despite the billions of dollars that are given to 501c3s that do exclusively what you're talking about, this problem has not been solved because the problem is, and it will never be solved because the problem is not something that you can individually decide to do. It's what the state is supposed to do. How do I know this? Because the state has done this in other places. America is not the only country on the planet. There are plenty of countries in comparable OECD nations where they have a much better outlook on combating homelessness and eradicating it where it stands. And that starts with a housing first policy. And that starts with not shelters, but actually housing the homeless people so they can go on a pathway towards rehabilitating themselves and becoming active members of society if they want to do so. That's just how it works. And I'm giving you how it works. And I'm explaining to you how it works. But for some reason, you're like, no, let the rich people do it. The rich people are trying to do it. It just doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. Isn't that fucking cliche? Like, madness is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
That's
what
literally
we're doing.
all we've done since the Gilded Age is
Yeah.
these shitty philanthropic organization that, like, I'm sure you can point to some people individually that they've helped, sure, but it's never going to work to the scale of an actual government policy designed to do this. Like, your entire point, right, is that, like, a liberal billionaire doesn't really give a shit, right?
I mean, not necessarily. I'm sure some do give a shit, but I'm sure
You
they're
think
not
they
helping
mostly?
to the
Your point is
maximum
like they
amount that
mostly don't
could.
care, right?
Mostly not. No.
Why would their organizations work then? Like, why would they actually help people to the scale that
Well,
they
if
need
they
to be
don't
helped?
care, just stop trying to make me care. If the people who actually believe in this.
So you
don't
are
care
ultimately
the
saying you
maximum
don't
amount.
care then. That's what you're saying. But you said you do care earlier. So I'm operating on the basis that you said you care. So I'm talking to someone who cares, not someone who doesn't
No.
care.
I don't care to do it your way. I don't care to do it your way.
But
So
your
I'm
way
saying
is
if they're
literally
not-
just doing it the same way. Your way is like private philanthropy, or like, I guess, send them on a bus to Dallas, Texas, to like live in a house that was built in 2013.
Which, of course, again,
Which is yeah.
it's not even something that people can do or are doing, and it won't happen regardless. So I'm just saying, we give a fuckload of money to this government. I think like it should actually do shit that, you know, normal functioning operating governments do, rather than like sit
Do you
around
think we
and
need to
give.
do it by giving more money, or you propose doing it with the current amounts we give?
You're not going to give more money to the government. I will give more money to the government, yes, and people that are of my level of wealth and higher will give more money to the government, yes, certainly. And I think that that is fair. I absolutely. I also think that the way I generate my wealth is by income. So I am giving a percentage of all of the amount of revenue that I generate per year back to the government. It's more than 50%, I would say. Whereas most wealthy people that park all of their income, park all of their wealth in the stock market don't. They pay an effective tax rate of like 3% to 5%. I'm paying 53% in California. I don't have a problem with that, and I will pay even more than that because I'm very fortunate.
So you're happy to
I'm
pay
very
that
lucky.
amount. You see what they're doing with our money right now. in
Yeah,
California,
as someone
and
who
you
pays a
wanna give
fuckload,
more.
as someone who pays a fuckload, and we have a $44 billion surplus now, and that's only part of the reason why we can even have a discussion about like potential universal healthcare in the state. I'm an incredibly fortunate person. I can survive. I can live an incredibly comfortable existence. I didn't used to make a lot of money, and I didn't understand it. And I used to believe what the fucking rich people said all the time about like how, oh, the government's taking more of my money. The government's taking more of my money. I'm here to tell you motherfuckers right now in the chat that will never make this amount of money in your entire lives. Every rich person is lying to you. They 100% could easily budget out another 10% of their fucking wealth and their yearly earnings back to the government. They just don't want to do it, okay? Because they want to keep as much money as possible. Partially, they don't want to do it because they think the government is not working for them, or the government rather is not functional, and it's spending the wealth in an unwise capacity. But the real reason is because they just don't care. They don't care if you fucking die. Okay, I'm telling you how it is. As someone who does make a fuckload of money, and as someone who gives a lot of money to the American government every fucking year, most rich people do not give a shit, and that's why they're
So you're
not
saying
giving
you
more in
want
taxes.
to give 10% more rather than you'd rather just give more, keep everything we have, and give more than reform how they're using what
No,
you're
of course I
currently
want to
giving.
reform. No. Of course I want
Would
to
you
reform.
rather do
Howard.
that rather than give
No, I
more?
want to do both. I'm realistically speaking, I see how little capital gains taxes, like how I see how the truly wealthy, not people like actors, not people like celebrities, not people like doctors. I'm talking like actual fucking wealthy individuals. I see how they get taxed. And the way that they get taxed, and I could easily do this too. I could so easily do this. I could just put literally every fucking dime I have in the stock market. That's it. Okay? Like, I make I pay taxes on my income right now from what I'm getting in revenue from Twitch and everywhere else. And then I park all of it after taxes in the stock market and then let that fucking accumulate every single year, 10%. Oh my Lord. And that would be great. Just let it sit. Don't take anything out. Park it. Okay? The way that rich people operate is exactly like that. And it is basically substituting actual taxes that you should be paying to the government to interest rates, if you even are paying any interest rates, to a bank. And it's just money going back and forth between financial structures rather than the actual government that should be adequately funded for whatever the fuck we want to spend it on. I also am not anti revising the way we spend our money. I think we spend an insane amount of money having fucking 300 plus, 400 plus that we know of military bases all around the fucking planet where we have no business being there. Fuck that shit. Take that off. We subsidize the military industrial complex. We subsidize every facet of like American agricultural production with no returns on that investment. We just do it unconditionally because capital owners have decided this is the way it's supposed to be. There is not a single fucking part of the American existence, of American economy or American industry that is not over reliant on government subsidies. If all I'm simply stating is, if we're going to give them money, then we get ownership over it, okay? Then we get a say. If we give Boeing money, or if we give the airliner industry money, they don't get to fucking operate monopolies and charge whatever the fuck they want to you. They don't get to fucking keep consistently deregulating certain sectors that are supposed to, improve the quality of your experience as a consumer. That's unacceptable. They can't constantly make financial decisions knowing full well that the government and the American taxpayer is going to bail them out every step of the fucking way. And that's the reason why they can never have cash on hand. And they can always engage in stock buybacks. And they can do whatever the fuck they want because they know full well when shit hits the fan that they are a too big to fail sector or too important to the American national security sector that the taxpayers will fucking bail out. I think that's bullshit. I think we need to revise that. Fuck them. Jail them. Throw them in fucking jail. Kill them with capital punishment if you have to. If that's the way to fucking actually to get anything done. Okay? I don't have a problem with any of this shit. But ultimately, I care about, helping people. Sorry for fucking going on a major tangent here, but it is bullshit. Anyway. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and you're at least like listening. But what we're doing right now is not working. Anyway, do you have any feedback on that?
That was pretty good.
At least throw the gauntlet and like let someone beat the shit out of their senator. At least like, come on, give me something.
The gauntlet, and what was your other option?
Gauntlet and the whip.
The whip.
Anyway, let's continue with the trans thing.
With the sex that they have been biologically created as and assigned at birth based on their genitalia, if they don't feel that way.
Does Dr. Phil do steroids?
He might. I mean, every celebrity does GH.
It was my parents' neighbor, like, before I was born, they were neighbors.
Really?
Kind of funny.
I didn't say kill the rich. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Okay, stop. I'm talking about a legal system in place where if people who are routinely fucking over and actually in many instances murdering American workers, they need to be punished by capital punishment. That's the only American way to do it. Then that's the only American way to do it. I'm talking about a legal process. America has capital punishment. I'm not saying like do anything else. Okay?
That there's no construct that describes that, experiences that.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the realities. You can feel however you want. I mean,
What do you think about gay conversion therapy, by the way, which Matt Walsh is apparently...
Well, because they now say if a parent talks to their child about their homosexuality in a way that's disrespectful or whatever, that counts as conversion therapy. It's not literally a camp. So
What do you mean?
That's the concern.
Do you really think that Canadians are gonna fucking go into people's houses and be like, are you talking to your gay child in a way that makes it seem like fucking you're saying homosexuality is bad? That's conversion therapy. We're gonna fucking throw you in jail. Is that what you think is gonna happen?
No idea. I don't know if the child's gonna be reporting, and
I think this seems a lot like the C-16 bill that Jordan Peterson went famous for, where there was a gross bastardization of the actual legislation in place. And not a single person is going to go to jail over this, and it's actually about real conversion therapy, and not like, parents talking to their child. Notice how it says.
I saw that he tweeted about it. I didn't get to even read the bill.
Yeah. Notice how he's talking about definition of conversion therapy right in front of you. It says, conversion therapy means a practice, treatment, or service designed to change a person's sexual orientation to heterosexual, change a person's gender identity to cisgender, change a person's gender expression so that it confirms that the sex assigned to the person at birth, repress or reduce non-heterosexual attraction or sexual behavior.
So repress or reduce. So if I'm talking to you, if you come out as gay and we're simply having a conversation and that makes you feel unsafe, am I producing conversion therapy on you?
No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. And not a single person, I'm willing to bet $1 million fucking dollars, not a single person will go to jail for what you just described, unless someone is like actively and trying to fucking fail in the most edge case possible. That's the funniest part about like the trans issues that we were talking about earlier. It's literally always conservatives faking it just to show that people fake it. It's like, motherfucker, you're the one who faked
was
it.
Faking the rape case where the guy raped a girl in a school bathroom, transferred schools, raped another girl. That was faking.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's rape and that's illegal regardless. There's no fucking like, oh, I'm trans. So then,
well, the guy was trans, so
okay, but that's ridiculous.
Was raping girls. I don't notice.
But that's
many
illegal.
Women. Yeah,
Christian, that's illegal. That's like that doesn't matter if you're trans or not. That's just fucking rape. That's illegal.
But you said our concerns with the trans issue.
No, that person is a rapist.
Made up. No, that it's not made up.
That person is not a rapist.
Like
that person is not a rapist because they're trans. That person is a rapist because they're a rapist.
Yes, and had the person with the penis not been in women's locker rooms, those girls would have been raped in the locker room.
That is an insane take. The 99.9% of trans people are not going around raping. You're like talking about one fucking person.
It's just one. Just forget it. So it's not a concern. It's just one.
No, it's not. That's a separate concern. That's a separate concern.
It's not a concern when they counted him as being trans simply because he said and identified as being
But it doesn't
trans.
matter. That doesn't matter because the offending sensibility there is the violation of the law. There is not him fucking faking being trans. It's him being a rapist. That like, what do you mean? There's no like get out of jail free card because he was. Did he get out of jail?
He raped one girl. They smothered the reports. He transferred to another school, raped another girl. So
okay,
yeah,
I don't even know the details of the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of the story, but it doesn't matter ultimately. That is quite literally a person who violated the law. You can't like rob a bank and be like, I'm trans, and then they're like, okay, I guess we're gonna let you go. It doesn't work that way. And especially what you are engaging in is something that has been used towards black people regularly and still to this day is used towards black people, something used towards gay people regularly.
Yeah, it's a lot different than men going into women's restrooms.
No, it's like, it's literally pointing to someone and being like, that person is violent because they're black. It's different than that person is violent because they're violent and engaged in a fucking violent action.
In the women's locker room with a penis because they said they were a woman and were allowed to go in.
That is not... The idea that like a person who's a serial rapist only was able to rape because they were able to go into a woman's locker room is insane.
Of course not. But
like, you think that's the reason? You think that's the only?
But do we just say, hey, just let him in because like it could have been those cases could have been prevented if he was not in the locker room.
Also,
you think he wouldn't have raped someone?
Don't know. Those two girls wouldn't have been raped, and those are the two we know of that he raped.
You don't even know that, by the way. You have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea if he raped anyone else.
No, I'm saying like you don't even know that it like is specific to him being able to be inside of a locker room. Like that's you don't stop sexual assaults from happening by saying that someone who identifies as trans can't be in women's locker rooms.
You're 100% dead on. Those two cases and those girls who are now traumatized would not have been raped in the locker room by him.
Okay, so they would have
locker room.
Okay, what you are failing to understand, I think, or actually, it seems like you do understand my point, is that
you're saying he could have raped them outside behind.
Yeah, of course. That person's a rapist. That's separate. Trying to desperately take an example of someone behaving in a criminal capacity and in a rapist, and then talking about their potential, their potential for being trans or not. Is insane. It's the same as saying gay men are pedophiles.
I didn't think he raped them.
It's the same as like saying black men are violent. It's literally the same shit. It doesn't matter. You're trying to get other people, and especially a lot of other people, purposely are doing this. And I don't know if you're purposely doing this or not, but a lot of people do this on purpose. They did it for gay people, and they said gay men are pedophiles. NAMBLA is a gay thing. That like pedophilia is a sexuality. And they did this, and they still continue to do this for black men in general, where they say black men are violent, they're aggressors. That person is doing this because they're black. And constantly and routinely play up that role when it has nothing to do with it. It's just that person did a crime. Crimes in 90% of the circumstances are a consequence of your material conditions, your upbringing.
Oh,
and
he raped
what you
them
are.
because of material
No,
positions, right?
I can't speak for that individual in most, but in the 10% of instances, and this is not an exact fucking number that I'm giving you, there's also antisocial personality disorders that we still currently, with our level of medical knowledge, cannot treat or cure. There is also that as well. I'm not saying that it's just because like people are doing it because they're fucking born into a shitty situation. There are obviously other instances as well. But no matter what we're talking about, that person being trans or not being trans did not play a role in this whatsoever. You cannot legislate like trans women using the women's restroom by saying there's one person who did a rape and they said they were trans, and that's why like we can't have trans women in women's restrooms.
No, but you said we only our concerns about trans issues are totally, outlandish. So I just used a recent example that happened. That I was just bringing that up.
So you just like randomly brought up an instance where someone claimed to be trans and then did two
I don't know
rapes.
if he claimed, if he actually genuinely believed it. I don't know what the issue was, but
Reason.com says conservatives wrongly portray the Loudoun County sexual assault as a transgender bathroom issue. The perpetrator did not target a random student, and he did not choose the girls' bathroom because of his gender identity. In June, a male student with a skirt reportedly, this is Reason.com, this is a libertarian outlet for the record. In June, a male student in a skirt reportedly assaulted a female classmate in a public bathroom in Loudoun County, Virginia. It was a story that appeared to confirm conservative media's worst fears about how predatory men could theoretically take advantage of accommodations for transgender people in order to harm young girls. And it touched off a wave of protests, with the victim's father, Scott Smith, at the center of them. But it was substantially misreported in order to fit a conservative social agenda. Anyone on the right makes a habit of complaining, often justifiably, about the mainstream media gullibly succumbing to viral stories that fits their priors ought to denounce this as well. Smith, the father, was arrested for loudly protesting at the school board meeting. Cops bloodied him, placed him in handcuffs, and charged him with obstruction of justice and disorderly conduct. When it later emerged that Smith was angry with district officials because he thought they weren't doing anything about his daughter's rape, he became a conservative folk hero and was interviewed repeatedly by right-leaning media. The Daily Wire led the charge, seizing on an opportunity to embarrass both the mainstream media and federal government for portraying hostile parents as akin to domestic terrorists. The Daily Wire's interview with Smith portrayed the idea that the daughter's assailant was gender fluid as central to the story. The implicit idea is that the perpetrator wore a skirt in order to gain access to the women's bathroom at the Stonebridge High School and carry out the attack. Over the summer, Loudoun County approved a new policy making it easier for trans individuals to use the bathroom of their choice, and thus a connection was established between this policy and what happened to Smith's daughter. The policy wasn't actually implemented until August, it turns out. But even if the school had begun enforcing it before that, there's no reason to think that the assailant's actions had anything to do with the accommodations for trans people. So this event actually took place before they even created that policy. So once again, this was a person who wanted to fucking rape a woman, or rape or assault. It doesn't say rape. I don't know if this is sexual assault, but assault a female student. And conservatives took that and fucking post hoc made this association that like it was actually about the fucking gender bathroom policies. And this happens all the fucking time. And that's because the assailant and the victim had a relationship and met in the bathroom for sexual activity previously. On Monday, the teenage victim of the Stonebridge assault testified that she and her attacker had agreed to meet up in a school bathroom on a date of the assault. She testified they had not explicitly discussed having sex beforehand. The teen testified as she arrived first and chosen to go to the girls' bathroom because the two always had met in the girls' bathrooms in the past. When the boy arrived, the teen testified he came into the handicapped stall she was in and locked the door. The two talked before the girl testified, and the boy began grabbing her neck and other parts of her body in a sexual manner. She testified she told the attacker she was not in the mood for sex, but he forced himself on her. Okay, it was sexual assault.
That doesn't count as rape. That's rape.
No, that is, yeah. I said it was sexual assault. Because it originally said assault, so I didn't know if that was the details or not. But it 100% was. He flipped me over. I was on the ground, couldn't move, and he sexually assaulted me. This has absolutely nothing to do with the person being potentially gender fluid or anything like that. This is a person that didn't even have access into a women's restroom specifically because they were gender fluid or anything like that. This happened prior to that actual incident. This happened prior to that actual fucking situation, and it completely, once again, it proves the point I was making, which is that like that's a rapist. That is a person who did a rape. Okay, that has nothing to do with them being gender fluid or being able to gain access into a bathroom or not.
Yeah, and like most rapes are like between two people who know each other. Right?
Exactly.
Meaning that like, yeah, you're saying like, oh, this is a girl that wouldn't have been raped if there wasn't this bathroom thing. But this like interrelationship rape, like he could have done it in a fucking bedroom. He could have done it in a fucking anywhere. He could have done it in an alley. The point was that he knew the victim and like unfortunately did something fucking horrible to her. But the fact that it's a bathroom, like he's still a rapist.
Yeah.
Regardless.
And the main problem is the rape in that situation. And except conservatives will use stories like this to say trans bathroom bills are bad, and they will push for more legislation on fucking random bullshit that literally impacts 0 fucking individuals. Like, it just makes like 5 trans students' lives worse. Okay, that's it. And it further justifies them getting fucking absolutely owned by all of their classmates non-fucking stop for just being trans. And it has like no genuine material impact any other way. But and conservatives will advocate for this agenda rather than like actual fucking bills that would combat sexual assault in any meaningful capacity. If conservatives truly cared about fucking rapes and raping of women, they would stop raping women when they fucking do it at all of their goddamn parties whenever the fuck they get together. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... It's like talking about fucking Brock Turner on the one hand and saying like that's actually it's good, the justice was served. Or talking about the numerous other instances where people straight up get away with fucking rape and then holding this one issue up. It's the exact same energy as saying I care about fucking women's sports and the sanctity and the integrity of women's sports. And when I tell you like, okay, what if they get more ratings and they get more money as a consequence of that, you say, no, I still don't want trans people to fucking
No, I said
participate.
I cared about the equality of opportunity to compete in the sport. It
doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. It's just like it's just trying to justify
massage
why you feel a certain way that you do about trans people. And look, and this is something I talk about all the time, okay? Like I used to have transphobic opinions. Like I've said some transphobic shit in the past, right? And I get it. Like we grow up in this rigid binary understanding of gender. Every facet of our lives tells us that like your sexuality and your sex, your sex that you were assigned at birth is the most important thing. If you're a man, you get fucking a certain set of toys. If you're a boy, you get a certain set of toys. If you're a girl, you get a certain set of toys. And that's unchanging. And you have to fit that rigid binary, right? So when someone comes along and says, actually, everything you knew about yourself and everything you knew about how the world operates is fucking wrong, actually, this is how it works, then that breaks your fucking brain. That's precisely why so many trans people themselves are often experiencing internalized transphobia. Like that they themselves are fucking transphobic, and then they realize like, oh shit, maybe I'm trans. Like it's normal because it's normalized, it's normative. The normative position is to be like kind of transphobic, and that's precisely why I'm understanding to a certain degree of people when they're like questioning these sorts of things. But when you take it one step further and are literally like more obsessed with what trans people are doing than other fucking trans people, then it's like, okay, you're obsessively and pathologically following everything that trans people are doing so you can fucking develop an argument about like why trans people shouldn't do this, why trans people shouldn't do that, and they actually shouldn't do this either. Like we started off with a fucking sport competition argument and we've moved on to the bathrooms, and in every step of the way it all just comes down to I just don't want trans people to exist in society.
No,
that they can just like go away.
Nope,
and
you can totally exist. You can play with Barbies. You can whatever. You're not a woman.
See, but that's what I'm saying. But that's where it comes from. Like it just still comes down to
and if
trans
you
women are
think
not
it's a
women.
Woman, that's great. You're a trans woman. You're not a woman. That's why you have a trans in front of your name because you're not a woman.
I mean, they're still women. Trans women are still
you're a
women.
Trans woman. Or you wouldn't be called a trans woman. You'd be called a woman.
I mean, but they are. Trans
then
women
why
are
call
called...
a trans woman? Then what's a woman? What is a
the
woman?
distinction between
we still
trans
have not
women
gotten
and...
to the definition, so maybe we should hear from them what they think of
Okay,
this.
well, we'll watch. But again, like after that entire conversation, you're still going back to like trans women are
because you
not
took
women.
it to they can't exist in society or whatever.
Here,
you're welcome to
look,
exist in society.
Like, do you think that? I mean, this person, like, here, I use this example as well, but like here, there you go. Like would
womanhood isn't based on
would you
what you
okay?
look
Would you
like.
consider this okay? But like, would you consider this person a man? Would you say that's a man when you like? Let's say you're at a fucking bar, okay?
Looks like a woman.
This person-
I'm sure we'd have so fun at lunch.
Okay, hold on.
shopping.
But like,
Great.
listen. You know where I'm going with this. You've had this conversation before with other people. You see this person at a bar, okay? They have a yellow jacket on, okay? You need to point them out to your friend. Do you say that man with the yellow jacket?
But I call trans people, I call them she, her. I don't go into the neo pronouns, whatever, but I'll either call them their name, their chosen name, or, I mean, I would call her a she. Like, I'm not at
Okay,
that
so you
point,
get it.
so I would say that, but
So you get it.
I don't think you're a real woman, no.
So you don't think she's a real woman?
No,
This person
I don't.
is.
No, I don't.
Okay. And the reason for that is what? Because like the gender that they were assigned at birth?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you then. Like this is not a metric that you would abide by for any other circumstance. You would just, when someone tells you, when I told you my name is Hassan, you didn't assume, no, he's probably lying to me. His name is Jonathan. I'm going to fucking call him Jonathan. You were like, no, that's
But I
Hassan.
don't think it's something you can choose. That's the difference. I don't think you get to choose your gender, so.
But like this, but you also understand that this person quite literally is a woman, and you would abide by that.
Quite literally, no.
Unless
they transitioned into. being
Okay,
women.
but
So you're
like you
trans
understand that that's a woman. Like you would
You're
point to them and say that's a woman.
I wouldn't, because of how they look, even though how you look does not determine whether you're a man or a woman.
Why-
I determine how I perceive you, but just because I perceive you that way doesn't mean you're literally that. So yeah,
I think there's a breakdown in what we're talking about, because like you literally understand that we make determinations. We make determinations on like what we think people are by looking at them, and the context clues in this circumstance absolutely fit that. And everyone would look at you like you're a crazy person if you were like, that man over there is wearing a fucking yellow jacket. You know what I mean? Everyone would look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no man there, right? And
but
the reason
just like,
for that is
okay,
because
the Kardashians one time dressed themselves up as old people and went on a tour, and they seriously looked like old people. The makeup, they were presenting as old people. They weren't 70 years old. They looked like old people. Anyone would have thought Khloe was a grandma. Khloe wasn't a grandma. She wasn't a 70-year-old woman, even though she looked just like one. So no, if I was a random person on the street, I would have said, "Oh, look at that grandma Jenny. She looks like she's 70. She's totally old. She's a elderly person."
I mean, there's hella.
That doesn't mean they are.
Okay, but there's like Andy Milonakis is a great example of this. Like there are people with genetic conditions, for example, that quite literally do not
exactly.
look like
that feeds
the age
into
that they
my
are.
point. That feeds into my
That
point. Just
they're
because
not.
you look that way doesn't mean you're actually that. So just because Khloe looked old didn't make her old. Just because this person looks old doesn't make them old. Just because you look like a woman doesn't make you a woman.
The age and the circumstance is not a changeable factor about yourself.
Just
that
like
is
your
like
gender.
No. What I'm saying is we use context clues, and when someone says like I'm actually 30 years old, you're wrong, then that's fine. You say they're 30 years old. You don't turn to Andy Milonakis and go, no, I'm sorry, you're not actually 30 years old. You're 13.
But that's just like when Khloe dressed up as an old woman. She could have told anyone, I'm 65, I'm 70, and they would have been like, oh, cool. She's not 65 or 70.
Okay, but the difference is,
perceived
I know, but the
that
difference
way.
is like this person is a trans woman. And
Yeah,
is
she's
a
a
woman,
trans woman.
and therefore a woman.
Therefore
so
a trans
you
woman.
saying like, oh well, technically when they were born, it's like different, doesn't change that reality. Especially because that's not the same standard that you would apply to like women before they get their first period,
I totally
intersex
think
women
she's
that
a
you had
trans
no
woman.
idea were intersex.
I totally think she's a trans woman. I think there's a difference between a trans woman and a woman. You're
Okay.
not a woman. You're
Okay.
a trans woman.
Also, one is a measurement of universally understood measurement of time versus the other is gender, which you and I both understand is greatly dependent on social context. Like a universally applied measurement of time is not the same as social context that we absolutely need. That changes from society to society, that has changed throughout time. That's the difference. Like, anyway, ultimately, I think you and I still agree that that like this person is still a trans woman and therefore
sure.
a woman.
Oh no.
But
Trans woman. Yes.
So like what? When your mom goes through menopause, like she's not a woman, you're gonna call her something different because like she no longer has the reproductive capability. Women that have like conditions where they can't have where they can't reproduce are not women. No, like that's not. You
When
never.
did the period
You don't
come
control
into it? It
people's
has
like
nothing to do with
pussies.
period.
Well,
Has
we're
nothing
talking
to
about
do with
reproductive
period.
capabilities. Like
No, it has nothing to do. There's lots of women that can't reproduce. No.
Okay,
They
so
still have certain chromosomes.
so wait,
and they
are
still...
trans people? So then trans people that actually got bottom surgery, then they're women, or no? They're still not women.
No, that's not. It's a fake. It's a fake vagina. So no, that's not.
Okay. Again, I guess I'm failing to understand this because like you are not applying to the same universe. You are not applying universal standards that you yourself claim to admit exist, or that you claim exists.
Like what?
On womanhood.
I
You
asked you to define woman. I never define.
I mean, it's
woman.
like
It's
kind of-
insane
well-
because I said it's a trans woman and y'all are demanding
Well,
that that's
no,
a
no,
woman.
well,
I mean, she is a
right,
trans
right.
woman.
Well,
She's a
Y'all are
trans woman.
demanding that
It's like it is
the
like
same as a biological woman. It's not the same.
right. Well, it's impossible to like get to like to make a logical proof.
Yeah,
one way or the
it's-
other that would like.
So I'm
that
happy
would,
to
But there
go
is-
with
but there is
trans
not
woman.
one. But
That
there
would
is
get
not
you. That would get you there because like the only reason you would say this is just to be like purely antagonistic. Because like it doesn't
Because
apply,
there's a
it doesn't
truth
hold on.
to it.
Because it doesn't apply to anything. And you're like, what are you like? Are you were going to knock a woman up, but you're going to get fooled by a trans woman? Like,
No, it's just about
it has no
biological
application.
truth.
It's
just about standing for the truth.
It
to
straight up
anything you give
comes
a
back
shit.
to the
It's
fucking
literally just to be
women's competition
antagonistic.
shit. Yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
a women's
so
competition
it's like
shit.
no logical proof could like get you along the other way. Like you're just going to say that because that's just the position you're at. Nothing else could make you like not say that. It's the same thing with like why you love Israel. Like it has no application to your life, but it's something you've decided that you'd like to
care about.
you like to say as like part of a performance.
No, just like people getting bombed in other countries doesn't affect me, but I don't want to bomb people in other countries.
Yeah,
So
one
it's
is
an issue
one
I
is
care
stopping
about.
one is stopping additional harm from occurring, whereas this one you can't really pinpoint a singular piece of harm that has actually happened, which is precisely why you rely
No,
on
just
like
standing for
you
truth,
rely
just
on
not-
no, but
not a
that's but
woman.
hold on, you rely on media reports that are completely bastardized to develop a narrative that trans people existing are somehow a negative to society or they're a burden to
Never
society.
said that. Just said they weren't women.
I know, but you brought up the fucking Loudoun County example.
Yeah, 'cause
that
it's
was
an example, but
it wasn't an example as we found
It
out.
was an example for what I was saying, but it's still
It's another example of
stands
what?
that a trans woman isn't a woman.
Okay, but
It wasn't according
all
to
I'm
that
simply
article,
asking for you is to examine why you constantly are seeking out this sort of information to form a particular narrative and whether or not that is like in any meaningful capacity like doing something good on the planet. I personally don't think so.
Again,
I think like seeking out this kind of information, like you will hear this all the time from the Daily Wire, from all sorts of conservative outlets. They will constantly fucking tell you, no, that doesn't matter. Here's a trans person that did something evil. Here's a trans person that did something evil. Like ultimately, it doesn't matter.
The Daily Wire had Blair White on, a trans woman, to come speak and tell her story. They're clearly not trying to demonize all trans people.
Yeah, that is yet another goalpost movement.
Oh, so
moment.
when they have someone on, it's just a goalpost. It's just that. No, they had someone on to tell her story.
I mean, Christian, there was quite literally a time when you physically could not be a conservative because it would not fly. That has changed. So now
Oh, no, I would have
can
been a
be-
slave to the Democrats.
Like, sure, certainly, yes, that
yeah,
as well.
no, things have changed.
Like,
Great.
but that's my point, is that like people, the conservative movement adapts to the new social standards so that they can continue propagandizing and attacking whatever the fuck
No,
they can.
you just said the Daily Wire was demonizing and trying to make all trans people
They are.
seem like they're bad.
They're literally
when they're
using-
literally platforming a trans woman to tell her story.
Okay, but
and
like-
she got so many fans from that interview. So no, not true.
Yeah, because conservatives
And then
also
you said they're just
conservatives
using her.
use Candace Owens to quite literally say every fucking racist thing they ever
Yeah,
want
no.
about black people.
We're just not going to agree. So let's watch. Like we're not even. Meeting.
Okay, I'm not even trying to. I'm not trying to like get
Candace
you to agree
Owens
with me.
is-
I'm just trying
yeah,
to show
no.
you the flaws in the way that you're
not
you're
a flaw,
thinking.
and Candace isn't propped up to spew racism.
Okay. I mean, come on. Candace Owens is a vehicle to say the most racist fucking
Like
shit
what?
that
Like
white
what's
people want to
racist
say.
that she said?
She regularly says things like black people that are victims of police brutality fucking deserved it. She will point
if you shoot at a cop or try to stab a cop, yeah, you do deserve it.
She will point to instances like even George Floyd to villainize and vilify George Floyd's background
talking about his past.
in an effort.
Just discussing his past.
You and I both know that is bullshit.
We're not allowed to talk about his past.
That's not about talking about his past. It's a way to develop a narrative to justify
about black people.
The state,
not at all.
To justify yet another state execution. Okay, yet another state execution of a black person in broad fucking daylight. Watch trans activist response to allegations of inappropriate contact with minors, brandishes a legal weapon.
That's not. She was interviewing another trans woman.
That's what I'm saying.
Jessica Yaniv.
I know they're using. First of all, I don't even know who the fuck that other person is, but she's like a fucking
she's a trans
psycho,
woman.
Right? She's like a psycho. There's like a
well-known thing like in Canada that Yaniv is like a fucking psycho.
Yeah, this is like the fucking person that they use. Blair White and Jessica Yaniv are literally two sides of the exact same coin, where like Jessica Yaniv and like all the psychotic shit that she does is utilizes a weapon against trans people, and Blair White is the trans person, the token trans that will say the transphobic things.
Not a token trans, just has her own thoughts and is interviewed about her thoughts.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just so strange that always like the you know all of the unique individual opinioned trans folk or people like Candace Owens are just, you know, paid professional media operatives. It's so interesting how that works, you know? It's just, look, it's a way to get the bag, okay? That's just how it is.
No, but so when people on your side do it, it's not paid operative. So y'all are allowed to platform anyone.
No, we have paid operatives. We have paid operatives on the fucking, on the, what do you call it? On the fucking liberal side too, even on the leftist side probably. Maybe not as much on the leftist side because it's not like, it's not super, it's not exactly a way to make a lot of money. There's like a couple people like myself, Felix, maybe like 10 fucking people that have actually been super successful, being able to reach a gigantic audience, but we don't have that same media infrastructure that you admitted exists on the Republican side. But yes, there are certainly liberals who do this shit.
Way more media than we have. Maybe not news media.
Wait, what do you mean? We have way more media?
Liberal, maybe not progressives, but
yeah, what are you talking about?
Sure.
I'm specifying. Yes, there are certainly liberals who make a lot of money fucking saying some shit, and they might not believe it, or they might actually believe it. Ultimately, what I care about is what the outcome of that fucking propagandizing is. Yeah, and Candace Owens even fucking insulted Ahmaud Arbery, so I don't think you fucking think that the Ahmaud Arbery situation was like she literally cast doubt on Ahmaud Arbery, who was jogging.
Like breaking into homes.
Stop.
As he had previously?
Stop. You don't believe that.
Yeah, I do.
No fucking shot. You are going crazy. Radlib on this shit. He has a point on these things. Chill out, man. He's a guest. What? What the fuck? Oh, he's just transphobic. Never mind. Okay. I thought he was like literally, oh yeah, okay. That's just like, he's just transphobic. I thought he was also saying like, no, he has a point on this. Like Ahmaud Arbery actually was deserved to be fucking executed.
No one said he deserved to be killed.
Oh, okay. Why did you bring that? Like
No, you said Candace Owens was flaming Ahmaud Arbery. Bringing up his past isn't flaming
Bringing
him.
up what
He
past?
did it. He had broken into homes previously, so how is that bringing up his past?
Dude, come on. You know what that is. You know
he
what
didn't
that
actually
is.
do it. That's what you're saying?
You know what that fucking
You're
is,
saying
dude.
he didn't actually
It doesn't
do
matter
it.
because the people that fucking chased him down had no idea.
Sure, she can still bring up his past.
No, but the reason why they do
You don't
that is
think
to
it's weird that
justify...
all the George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, all these people have a criminal past? Rayshard Brooks.
Do you think... Okay, don't be a pussy and fucking tell me straight up. Do you think George Floyd deserved to be executed by Derek Chauvin?
No, but had he cooperated, he wouldn't have been executed.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
They were kind
that's
to him
insane.
for literally 8 minutes, however long. We're so kind. Do you need a water? Do you need us to roll down the window? Nope. Wouldn't cooperate. No, he didn't deserve to be executed. No one said he desered to be executed.
What about Ahmaud Arbery? Should Ahmaud Arbery have cooperated?
No, he didn't deserve what he got. Of course not.
So you see, but are you saying George Floyd deserved what he got? Because it seems like you're saying that there's a distinguished.
No, but there was no opportunity for Ahmaud. It's a completely different circumstance. Had George Floyd cooperated, he wouldn't have been executed. Ahmaud Arbery, no, I mean,
there was no way out in the Ahmaud Arbery situation. So why would you bring up potentially what Ahmaud Arbery could have done in the past, and then also tie it back to the same narrative that is it an accident that every single black person that gets killed?
When she was bringing that up, there were rumors that he had broken into a house. So she looked into his criminal past, brought that up.
That's bullshit. That is.
We're not allowed to
bullshit.
bring up. We're not allowed to bring up black people. We can bring up white people.
No, you only do that if you are trying to fucking create a pretense of doubt that even the fucking racist criminal justice system, even the racist criminal justice system did not agree with in fucking Georgia, by the way. Well, like, actually, that's not true. They did originally agree with it, and then the person who threw the case away is now punished and is under a separate trial for quite literally allowing these fucking racist murderers to get away with doing a fucking modern day, in broad daylight, filmed lynching on a black man who did not deserve to fucking die. I just don't. I don't believe it. Like I don't believe that that you truly believe that all of these people are just like accidentally or just randomly bringing up people's past. I don't think that people deserve to die in the hands of the state, no matter what their fucking background is, by the way.
Oh, if you go to shoot a cop, I do think the cop deserves to protect themselves.
Except in the overwhelming majority of instances, it's not actually an armed assailant that's being shot. It's unarmed people, especially when we're talking about black people, 21 times more likely that they are unarmed and being killed by police officers. And the attitude that we have in American society about why that's justifiable is exactly the same attitude that Candace Owens is advocating for whenever she does that white supremacist agitprop in a way that, like, we would literally cringe if a white person was doing it because we would understand that that person is being racist, but she gets away with it because she's a black woman. That's it. That is literally the same exact fucking narrative that, like, black people are violent, black people are inherently, like, dangerous.
No one
they're
said
they're
that.
aggressive.
No one
No,
ever brought that
because Candace Owens is too much of a pussy to fucking say it out loud.
No, maybe that's what you think. She's never she's never edged that way.
No,
so
because white people know you can't say that. No, white people, you know for a fact that if you say that, everyone
statistics and bringing up someone's past isn't trying to say all black people.
Bringing up crime statistics in an effort to justify over policing the black community is literally fucking an Ouroboros. It is a cyclical argument. And the cyclical argument.
Are we gonna finish the video? Like,
I mean, at this point, it's like it doesn't even.
I mean, you don't even want to watch it now.
Not really.
You don't want to watch his tape.
No, I can guess what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you.
I think I could guess.
Just because I say I'm a walrus doesn't mean I'm actually a walrus. I'm a human being.
Well, let's hear what he has to say, and maybe the trans couple has a good.
Yeah,
I do have to go in like 4 minutes.
Okay.
But I can kind of guess what he's going to say. I can kind of guess.
Well,
Dr. Phil's been doing a lot of this lately.
Let's cheer on the trans couple.
Didn't he have the CRT guy on too?
He had the CRT guy on. He's doing
and
every hot button social issue, and he's having like one guy from one side.
Yeah.
One from
that I feel.
Yeah, and the person they have usually on the other side is like some fucking random person who is that, and then the other guy is like literally a fucking think tank operative. The CRT guy straight up was like a conservative think tank guy, right?
Yeah, no. Well, he kind of like washed out.
I saw a black woman and a black CRT guy. So what are y'all talking about?
Like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that actually in those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify. It makes no sense. You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar. That's language.
So you think it's a delusion? Someone is self-delusional.
Yeah, I think it's delusion. It could be mental illness. It could be it's a lot of different things.
Like, Matt Walsh is like, I don't care what you say your name is. I'm not going to call you that. You don't get that, okay? I'm going to call you whatever I think your name is.
Also, like, children. Just literally in language, everyone gets their own pronouns.
Yeah.
He's just against the concept of saying he or she or anything.
Yeah, he's just, it's so silly.
Wow. You know, there's also just a basic confusion that all kids have. Like, that's why when you hear a parent say, oh, my 4-year-old son came to me and said that I'm a girl now, and so that's what I'm gonna raise him as a girl. No, you're a 4-year-old. I have 4 kids. when a 4-year-old boy comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm a girl," here's a good follow-up question. What is a girl? Ask him what he means by that. What do you mean by girl? And when you ask him that, here's what he'll tell you. He will tell you what he really means is that he wants to do some of the things that girls do, like play with the dollhouse, or he likes the color pink. That's fine.
When he does that, you need to beat him until they're not. Okay, obviously, the only way to fucking get him right. Okay, so that there could be more fucking Matt Walshes.
Play with the dollhouse.
Yeah.
But you're still a boy.
Need to lock them in a nunnery.
That's a question I would like to throw out to
Ireland.
other members of the panel. Actually, because just like the 4-year-old can't answer what is a girl, well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology, is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman?
Well-
Can you tell me what a woman is?
All right.
No, I can't.
I gotta.
Because it's not for me.
Are you out?
Yeah, I gotta.
Oh,
I got an engagement. I gotta get to.
All right.
Fancy.
I don't define fancy. You know.
Thanks for coming, Felix.
pleasure.
I hope
It was so nice
Goodbye,
to
Chad.
meet you.
Good to meet you.
I'll see you later.
See you.
Are you going back to New York?
Nah, not yet. Got a little bit. Got a few weeks more here. Hasan, I'll see you soon.
Peace.
Good to meet you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Are we gonna finish the video? And then...
Yeah, no, I can finish the video. I mean, it's fine.
Good to see you.
Me to say.
Hi.
What is this? What? Watch in awe as this gerbil says. No, I don't want to do the Candace Owens shit anymore, dude. It's like, it's just, that is like
Let's
so.
just finish.
That is so obviously like a particular thing. I feel like, you know how you feel like I'm denying reality when I'm talking about like, trans women's existence
Oh, I
or
know
whatever?
that's how you feel about. That's
No,
probably how
but
you feel about her.
I literally feel like, people are being crazy when they just look at Candace Owens and go, no, that's actually should be honest about it. Especially when considering the fact that, like Candace Owens herself in like 2016 was anti-Trump and like quite literally won a fucking hate crime case against the state of Connecticut when she was a victim to a hate crime growing up and like all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden over the course of like a couple months, she becomes this like major fucking pro-Trump person. Get the fuck out of here. That's a op. That's 100% a person who's like making a living off of this. Anyway.
Womanhood looks different for everybody.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well,
how
that's
do you define a female?
someone with female reproductive organs.
Okay.
Someone who's, here's the thing. When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies,
Okay.
we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being.
Interesting. So I'm trying to understand.
I like that when he tried to reduce it though, it's still fucking not definable, especially because like we're talking about sex versus gender. And even in that circumstance, like there are plenty of people that we 100% cannot comprehend whether or not they were actually fucking women or men. There's plenty of fucking intersex people too that like this dickhead would never be able to comprehend is a woman or man. It's just he's saying sex is whatever I fucking agree to that other biologists do not agree to. He's not even a fucking biologist. And also,
So you don't
I will
believe in-
look back at like whatever the fuck from throughout history and decide like this person is this sex. What's your question?
Oh, I was just gonna say. So, do you not believe in like biological sex either? Like,
No, there
legitimate
is a
question.
biological sex that is again outdated, not according to me, but according to actual fucking biologists. And I'm not talking about fucking bullshit evolutionary biologists like the 8 fucking podcast owning biologists, okay? Every fucking biologist that has ever come out against like the actual biological sex, straight the fuck up, is like just a person that isn't actually a biologist or has that credentials at all and is just straight up a fucking grifter with a podcast. It's just so strange to me that like all the actual fucking biologists that don't believe that and don't say that are still doing biology, and Brett fucking Weinstein, who's like an evolutionary psych guy, is somehow a podcaster. So strange how that works. But I guess that's the only way to fucking, I don't know, spread the truth, right? So like having a certain chromosomes, especially considering that intersex people do exist And even then, there are more intersex people than there are redheads. There are more intersex people than there are Jewish people on this planet. That does not mean that they're not valid or we should just like fucking throw them out in its entirety. Even our biological understanding of sex is outdated. If you were to think it's just male, woman, doesn't matter. Okay? Anyway, let's continue.
And your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct,
Gotcha.
is
Okay.
a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? Cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word, so what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right? So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
That describes what?
people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity. And
Wait, we can tell skeletons were transgender too. 5,000-year-old transgender skeleton discovered. I mean, it doesn't matter because then they'll say like that's fucking bullshit. Okay, it like they'll just say it's like fucking woke activists or
define
whatever
it
the fuck.
differently.
That doesn't-
And so
I'm not
trans
asking you.
women are women too.
Wait, what?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
That doesn't-
And so
I'm not
trans
asking you.
women are women too.
What is he saying? I can't understand what he's saying. He says,
This individual said every person has a different relation with their gender,
Uh-huh.
and they get to pick it for their own. And so then let's see what he.
But I don't understand what the fuck he's saying about it. Like
It includes
asked
people,
her-
That describes what?
What does
people who identify as a woman.
Woman
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
That doesn't-
And so
I'm not
trans
asking you.
women are women too.
Okay.
And you want to hold on,
just said it
hold
again.
on.
Trans
You
women
want
are
to
women.
reduce.
What, you
listen,
won't even
listen.
tell me
You
what
want to
gender
reduce-
means, though. So
you
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women. You want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics.
Notice how when they asked Matt Walsh, what do you define as a woman? He also had no fucking adequate explanation for it. Because whoever tries to explain that concept...
He defined it in his.
No, he said a reproductive organ. There are women without
But
reproductive
he
organs
said
that
it's
are
in
still
your
women.
DNA. It's logged in. It's like they're.
No, he
it's
jumped-
Simply a
he-
biological term.
Yes, he jumped and also described it against the scientific consensus on the matter. He jumped and he went into a colloquial understanding that it relies on antiquated social concepts that are Western-centric for the most part. Like, that's contemporary Western society. And the reason why he had to do that, is because there is no adequate way of explaining a concept that is otherwise a social concept that changes.
So is there no difference? Like
He tried
according
to-
to that, then there's no difference between men and women, except social constructs. Is that what you're saying?
There is the sex that we're talking about, what people consider to be the biological gender, which is not, even though it's not, even that is not binary in the way that Matt Walsh is trying to define it. And then there is the gender, and the gender is like the sock that you put on your foot. Okay, it's like the gender is the decisions that we make that signal to other people what we are or what we see ourselves. That's the main difference. Matt is using the social context cues to describe biological sex, but even biological sex itself is not as rigid in the way that Matt thinks it is. That's the problem. So he is getting away with this. The only reason why he's getting away with this is because plenty of people like yourself think that that is the reality, that that is the way that it works. So simply turning around and stating that, define a woman, you can't, does not mean, it might look like you won the fucking argument, but it does not mean you actually won you won anything. Like, you said there is such a thing as objective truth, right? The objective truth in this situation is not who rhetorically overpowered the other side as a
No, I
conservative
don't think
commentator.
so at all.
The objective truth still is something that like scientists agree. And scientists don't happen to agree with Matt Walsh unless they are in a completely unrelated field and have a podcast where they are making a living telling people that like the way that they feel is actually the truth.
Okay, let's
and
see what
everyone
they
else
have
is
to
being
say.
a fucking woke justice warrior. The defined number of genders, I guess, is 6 now. It doesn't fucking matter ultimately. The defined like biological gender is 6 with different kinds of chromosomes.
Genitals
No.
are chromosomes, right? That's what you're
What
saying.
you want to
that
do is
that's what we are at the end of
what
the
you
day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood
Okay.
and turn it into basically a costume that could be worn.
I'm really
Yeah, he's saying you want to appropriate womanhood into a costume that can be worn, but the way that he associates with womanhood is quite literally a costume. You have never actually checked someone's genitalia, or rather asked them if they actually got a fucking surgery to, even if you did check their genitalia, to see if they got a surgery to change their genitalia or not before associating with them as a woman. You associate with people as women or men with
Associations
context.
we did this with the old. Associations are different than reality.
Okay, but
Can be different than
But
reality.
because the concept of gender in and of itself, is completely about social conditioning and social cues, then there is no reality there other than what people perceive you as, because gender is a social construct and totally separate from sex to begin with. It's a performance. Gender is always a performance. It will always be a performance. That's precisely why, I mean, and it doesn't have to be a good performance. If I wanted to look like a woman tomorrow, it would be kind of hard for me to do that. Let's be real, because of our understanding of what like fits the concept of a woman is. Okay, it would not be a super easy performance for me, okay, to do overnight. But it's still a performance. That doesn't change that reality. Anyway, Christian does believe that gender dysphoria is a medically recognized condition. I think that's why he likes Blair White.
really concerned about what's going on in schoolrooms across the country.
The entire gender pronoun situation makes me feel very upset.
People may think that if you don't want to use the preferred pronouns, that you're against gay people. This is 100% untrue. I am a huge advocate for gay people, trans people, and the like.
Stacy and I both have children in the same school district.
I learned that the teachers in my children's school were asking for the kids' preferred pronouns in the classroom. When I heard about this, it was extremely upsetting.
Last year, my son was given a homework assignment. I gave an example of a child not identifying with the gender that they're born with.
That's like, do you think that's oppression to be like, what's your gender pronoun? Be honest. Do you think like asking kids that is like?
No, but I think it's a weird question, and you know why I think it's a weird question, and I know why you don't think it's a weird question. I just want to watch the story and then analyze after we get all the info.
Is an example of
Look at the music that they're playing. Like, oh my god, I can't
Well,
believe it.
this is John.
I can't believe it. I can't believe they asked her
That's
what their
what they
gender
do with
pronouns are. What the fuck?
homework that was given to my 8-year-old son. If a student is unsure of their place in the gender spectrum or is experimenting with different forms of gender presentation, school uniforms can present a real challenge.
Oh my gosh. What is gender spectrum?
That's a great question. My son was really confused. I feel like I'm ambushed because now I'm explaining to my son. He asked me, what does sexist mean? As a parent, I felt trapped. I felt I had to explain these concepts to my son because I felt like I was whittling away his innocence.
I love that like 90% of conservative gripes can be reduced to like, I don't know how to explain this to my son or daughter, and that's why it should not be taught in schools. It's like, motherfucker, don't worry. They should teach it so you don't have to, okay?
No, we want to be involved.
No, but it's like, but that's like literally the fucking same concept as like CRT as well, where it's like, oh, well, I don't know. I heard something called CRTs being taught in schools and it fucking sucks. I don't know. It's making it's making my, children uncomfortable. It's like, no, dude, it's just.
This year, my 12-year-old daughter had a science teacher ask the class about their preferred gender pronouns.
I don't want a teacher talking to my child about gender pronouns. It is not appropriate. It's crossing a line. It's unacceptable. This is a parent-child issue, not a teacher-child issue. I wanted my kids to have nothing to do with it. I had to pull both of my kids out of this school district.
I've decided not to pull my children out of the school district, but I'm fighting for change. I've been attending school board meetings for about a year now. What's happening across the country is teachers could get fired if they use the wrong gender pronoun. That just seems wrong.
This is my mission in life, to protect my children, and however I need to do that, I will. What Matt and I and a group of us are doing is we're working to have the school board removed completely. A lot of people I know, a lot of parents I know are afraid to speak up, and I speak for them, and I'm not afraid.
Oh, we know you're not afraid. This woman has never shut the fuck up, okay?
She's ready to take
me,
it on.
Yeah, she strikes me as the type of woman who definitely does not ever
back down.
Definitely does not back down. And perhaps she should.
Arlo, how old is the baby now?
Courage.
Oh, Sparrow's actually going to be 4 in February.
Has Sparrow decided as...
Oh, a gender?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great question. Sparrow is in a point of learning and exploration with a lot of things, including gender. Language with children at 4 is very...
Like, this shit fucking annoys me so much.
So that annoys you too?
No, it annoys
like
me because
that,
it's like, no, dude, here's why this annoys me, okay? Like, ultimately, some of these moms straight up do this, or dads straight up fucking do this, because they want to be on Dr. Phil. Okay?
Period.
No, but it's like, but that doesn't change the reality that there are actually trans kids. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter. Like, there are real trans kids. And even if this person is like, I'm not using gender at all, and like only using gender neutral fucking pronouns when I'm like educating my child, it doesn't change the reality that there are still trans children. Okay? It does not matter. It doesn't change the reality. It doesn't matter how weird they look. It doesn't matter how fucking...
I didn't say she looked weird. You
No,
did.
I'm saying like weird they sound or look.
She sounds like a normal adult to me.
No, there's no shot, okay? There's like a lot... This is a rad lib adult, okay? Like,
She's totally normal. I don't know why you came up with that.
No, this is like 100% the type of adult that is like, this is why they're, this is an anecdote, okay? And they can be as, strange as they want with the way that they want to teach their children, okay? Or educate their children. I'm sure they'll be great, okay? But they're doing this because they want to be a media personality, okay? They're doing this because they want to be a media personality.
Do you think she can do it? You think she has what it takes?
I mean, they are doing it right now.
Okay,
it's just
well,
like they're doing it currently.
They're figuring it out. And so currently, Sparrow uses he for everyone. No, it doesn't matter what their pronouns are, and we've mentioned it. They just call everyone he, they don't conjugate it correctly. They don't use him or his or anything. Just he for everything. So we joke that he is Sparrow's preferred pronoun because that's what they use for everyone. As far as for themselves, though, they're not coming consistently saying, I would like, I want to be a boy or a girl, or I feel like I'm non-binary. We don't have heavy, in-depth, like overt communications. It's not like every morning I wake them up and say, all right, what's your gender today? Hoping they'll finally give me an answer. So it doesn't come up like that.
Okay, you decided this was important to leave unspecified,
Bro, they named their child
why.
Sparrow, okay? It's like, that's automatic L, okay?
It's
like...
cute. That's a cute name.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because of the fact that gender is so social, and it is such a social construct. Now, we say we shouldn't interact with one another differently because of our genders. Like, everyone deserves the same respect and treatment. But it has been scientifically proven that children are interacted with very differently based on whether they are assumed to be a boy or a girl. Girl children are held more, boy children are given, mechanical toys more often, all of these kind of examples and anecdotes. And I felt it was important for Sparrow to get the chance to figure themselves out without all of that pressure, intervention, and programming.
It seems like we should just keep the dialogue going and hopefully find some middle ground.
I have a question. Arlo, you mentioned that you don't have your child discussing pronouns or figuring out their pronouns yet, and yet in school, our kids are being asked what their pronoun is. I'm confused about how that works, and then there's always this fluidity right around what pronoun you are each day, so it's constantly changing. How confusing.
I think
For
what it
kids.
is. Oh, sorry. I think what it is that I sympathize with the hurt and distress that I sense from you all. I also wouldn't want my child to learn things from their teachers at school that were topics I was uncomfortable with or I didn't know how I'd want to talk about them. Your children are going to need to know how to navigate a world.
Bro, this person comes down to your neighborhood, you know there's a Whole Foods coming up soon, okay?
No, it's Sprouts.
This person starts driving down your neighborhood, rent's about to go up,
Lord,
okay?
Oh.
I'm just letting you know.
Period. And some vegan food shops.
I mean, it doesn't matter because they're in
sure.
fucking, Loudoun County, which is already rich as fuck. All those, like, disgusting rich fucking Virginia parents that are, like, so fucking jobless because they're recipients of intergenerational wealth. They don't have to fucking work because the husband is at Raytheon.
Right down the road.
The husband is at the fucking Raytheon burn, Afghan children factory, making new lasers, new types of fucking weapons to, like, melt Afghan kids from fucking satellites to the tune of $700,000 a fucking year. So the stay-at-home mom can fucking freak out by watching conservative television 24/7 and literally give themselves, like, adult onset schizophrenia and think that, like, QAnon is real just by watching television and having their brain broken about TV. So they can just, they're bored and this is the way they fucking occupy their time. Anyway,
in which non-binary
they're two
and
sides of the same coin, by the way. Anyway,
transgender
whatever.
people exist.
This is a great conversation to have at home, out of the school. This should not be part of the curriculum.
We're out of time, but I thank everyone.
This is such a funny cut. The way that they edited.
I know there was such good stuff they left out for sure. We didn't even get to see the parents.
I'm coming a little hot, man. No, he's just like, I wanted to see what Sparrow's parents' take was about, like, asking kids what their gender pronouns are. Which, by the way, what's the problem? Just say he, him, or she, her, if that's your gender pronoun. Like, I don't understand. Practically, pronouns should only be introduced when kids enter adulthood. Kids should be free to be kids and decide when they are more mature and can clearly decide what they really want to be. This leads to regret later in adult life choices that forced at an early stage. I think you should do whatever the fuck they want. Okay? Like, just let kids be kids. I think that's what that person is saying as well. If they operate outside of a binary, educate your kids outside of a binary, then the concept of preferred pronouns and gender identity automatically does not exist. Anyway. Didn't you say Turkish is not a gender language? No. Which is why it was really fucking annoying at first. HasanAbi, thought you said that the chat would be less sexist. Why are they acting like there's no way this woman has a job? One thing you guys both agree on is that you don't like this woman. Dude, I want to sometimes put rad femmes into a work camp. I really do. If you're like a rad femme, you should work it. You should
Is that
go,
a radical feminist?
You should go to a woman's prison. Like, you should be in a woman's prison where they treat you like they would in a men's prison, just for thought crimes. Okay, like, straight up. I mean, that's 100% my take. If you're like the type of person who hears me fucking shit on, like, reactionary Barbie over there, going, oh my god, like, children are learning gender pronouns, this is a fucking Holocaust or whatever, and I just say, like, you have no job and that's why you're fucking busying yourself with this, like, psychotic bullshit, and the only thing you hear there is that, like, women shouldn't have a job, you should go to jail. You should go to thought prison to be re-educated. Okay? Anyway. Speaking figuratively, I don't mean literally. I am in support of rehabilitation, but sometimes it just
sometimes
like fucking.
You just gotta send them straight there.
Anyway.
Well, that was fun.
That was I guess. What this person is saying that I'm going. Yeah, dude, sexism jumps out at me. I can care about multiple things. Dude. You are. Look, here. We can end this on a concession. Okay. I hate this more than conservatives do. The type of person that fucking looks at a conversation, does not understand the point I'm trying to make, and associates it with, like, whatever the fuck is about themselves, is a narcissistic person who does not give a shit about the 37,000 other individuals that are here. That person is a narcissist. That person is not a progressive. They're just using progressive aesthetics and progressivism to just to pursue their narcissistic desire to have themselves centered in a conversation. Okay? So that is something that happens in liberal spaces regularly. That is something that happens in leftist spaces regularly. And I adequately slap them around when they say dumb shit like this because they're like, you're being fucking sexist. Okay? Nothing I said about, I don't know, fucking recipients of intergenerational wealth have to do with this Loudoun County mom has to do with like women not working or women working or anything in general like that. You chose to understand it that way. You know, if you've been in here for long enough, you've been following since January 6, 2021, you've been in here for fucking more than a year. You know what my point of view is on women in the fucking workplace. You chose to derive a sexist fucking value out of what I just said because you're a fucking piece of shit narcissist who likes to adopt the aesthetics of progress to actually have a me conversation. You pathetic little snowflake bitch. Okay? Anyway.
Done.
And people do this all the time. It's very frustrating. Sexism jumps out at me.
You of being...
Isn't 30% of the chat women? It is. It is. Weren't they non-binary?
No, they
Why you gotta
were.
apply female gender identity to them? I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fucking I'm talking about the fucking Loudoun County mom who was not non-binary. Anyway, okay. Well, Christian, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It was fun.
I hope you understand that it's not just like that. Conservatives being dumb is not the only thing that fucking frustrates me.
Oh, trust me, it frustrates you? Well, good to hear. Do you want me to bring anything?
No, don't worry about it. I'll clean up.
Sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, thank you. See you later.
Okay, thank you for coming on. Hopefully this was an educational opportunity in some capacity.
You taught me so much.
You're such a liar.
You basically converted me.
Okay, you're lying, but hey, hopefully.